Let me first commend the CSOs for standing their ground on this particular issue. They have been very consistent on this deal right from day one, and it's good listening to Mr. Ben Boachi and their comment, their view on this particular deal is something that I associate with. I also believe that without wasting time, the chairman for the board of GNPC and the CEO must resign, because this is a very, very serious issue of corruption.
They must resign?
Yes, they must resign or be sacked. And I'm surprised that weeks or days after the Minister for Energy wrote to the president, where he actually chronicled all the events that led to this scandal, and he actually described the transaction as scandalous. I'm surprised that days after this letter was sent to the secretary, to the president, these individuals still remain in office. Anyone interested in fighting corruption should be outraged at what has gone on with regards to this deal. Let me start off with the issues of corporate governance, and I heard Mr. Ben Boachi also touch on it. I am surprised, as a student of public policy and good governance, that a board chair could have access to the letterhead of the corporation and write letters on behalf of the corporation offering deals against the minister's advice. Because as far back as September 2021, and I have the letters here, the Minister for Energy, the Honorable Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, wrote a letter to the corporation stating that on the sidelines of a meeting they held outside this country, he had a bilateral talk with his colleague minister in South Africa. And they have agreed, and these are some of the letters, that they have agreed that as a matter of interest, Ghana was not ready to reduce its stakes in the recently acquired Jubilee field. And so it is surprising to know that the minister's letter was sent to the CEO and to the board, and yet the board chair will have access to letterheads of the corporation, pass behind the minister, and decide to directly engage the Petro SA. And if you look at some of the offers that were made in this deal, very, very scandalous. How on earth could you offer to give 50% off at a time that already the 290 million USD, which has already accrued to the state, and you are giving off 50%, it means that when Petro SA comes into these transactions, they will even have to take even more money from this country, because we've already accrued some of the money on the transaction from the 290 million. The point must be made that this deal smacks of corruption. This deal exposes the fact that there's no transparency with how things are done at GNPC. This deal exposes the fact that the corporation's board chairman, Mr. Freddie Blake, and the CEO have decided to bypass the minister and the right procedures to offer or to make an offer directly to Petro SA against the minister's advice. How is that done? Because when you look at our state institutions, the minister is supposed to be the head of policy or the policy head. And then on a major issue like this, where millions of dollars that belongs to this country are being offered to private companies, how would the CEO of the corporation and the board chairman pass behind the minister to make this offer to enter the deal? Meanwhile, the minister had written several letters stating the position of the ministry not to give off stakes of the deal. And so this whole thing, I'm surprised that the presidency is sitting down watching, and the CEO is still at post, the board chairman is still at post, and all these issues are happening. Roland, I think that if we really are serious about fighting corruption, all of us, including you, the media, you have a major role to play in this. Some years back, Victoria Hammer, in a private conversation, told somebody how she intends to make $1 million from politics. I recall how you, the journalists and the media, came hard at her, and President Mahama had to let her go. She was sacked. She was fired. Just a private conversation indicating an interest in raising $1 million from politics. She was sacked. There is never any corruption deal or scandal in the last 10 years that can be compared to this particular scandal at GNPC today. But almost all of you are quiet about it, because it is scandalous enough that the minister stated in his letters to the president that the ministry is against any further engagement with Petro SA. The minister went further to even write to his counterpart in South Africa, indicating that Ghana's policy direction as we speak is for us to increase our stakes in the acquisition or in the extractive industry. And so how then will the CEO, who we know is a relative of the president alone, and the board chairman, who was the national chairman of the NPP, bypass the minister to engage in this deal? I think that these are very serious issues that must be of concern to us. In any serious country where corruption is being fought, these two individuals should be investigated by now. They should be relieved of their post, and they have no business continuing to stay in office. I find what is going on at GNPC as a very, very, very serious issue